call the December 15th, 2022 Simsbury Public Safety Subcommittee meeting to order. All rise, and could we, Mike, you want to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Sure. Good morning, everyone. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. For the first time in a long time, I am elated to share with you that we have public comment. Karen, good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you.
Go ahead. The floor is yours.
All right. I won't belabor this. I've already presented at the board select meeting on November 14th, but there are about 180, maybe more of us residents on the south side of the West Street crosswalk at Grist Mill. And what we're trying to do is improve the safety of that crosswalk. We have a pent-up need. A number of people don't even use it. They didn't feature in the engineering and observation study that was recently conducted. They're actually afraid and drive their children. They're afraid to walk their pets. So we got a petition together, got several letters together and presented that to the board. And I want to thank Chief Bolter, who has been very helpful in guidance with us. He is meeting with our group tomorrow morning to add additional perspective on what occurs when you have a state road and what the process is going through all that you have to decide for public safety. Now, since then, I just wanted to give a quick update. We have had the support from the South Oxford Management Group. Some of you may be familiar with that. They're the owners of our particular Mill Commons building and several others here in Simsbury. And so they have given a letter of support, which I provided to Sean. And Sean, thank you all along. You've been emailing me to guide us in our first initiative here as citizens. We also got in touch with the Simsbury Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Committee, BPAC. I did not realize when we started our initiative that they were in place, but I went to the board meeting this Monday in order to see what their issues were related to the sidewalks and activity with bicycles on that. Quite an interesting meeting. And obviously the Hartford Current covered that as well. So there's a great deal of interest, and I thank you as our Public Safety Committee for making these initiatives well known and doing what you can to improve the safety. So in conclusion, I just want to say we have the same vision, our small residential area that you have for Simsbury, and that's for a safe, robust community that can entertain walkers, cyclists, pets, disabled people that need mobility support. We're very much interested in improving it with flashing lights or even other safety measures that you might come up with, because right now it's not safe. So thank you very much.
Karen, appreciate your comments and your leadership on this with all of the residents, right? You know, it is obviously a challenge with it being a state road within our confines. And again, we'll look to continue to advocate however we can, where it makes sense, right? And if that's letters, if that's meetings, whatever that is, and I'm sure the experts on the call here will guide me further on where we can and can't help influence this process. But if there's one thing I've learned over the last 12 years is when it involves the state, it's hard. So, all right, but thank you for joining us this morning. Tom and Maria, I don't believe we have anybody else for public comment. But again, Karen, I mean it sincerely. I've been doing this a long time, and I think you might be the second person that's ever come to public audience. So thank you. All right. We have approval of the minutes from September 22nd, 2022. They were in our packet. Are there any questions, concerns, objections, changes? Hearing none, those minutes will stand. All right. Also in our packet, The agenda for, the meeting schedule for 2023. I'm sad to report that the first meeting will be on March 16th and not the high holy day of March 17th, but we will adapt. And then we have June 15th, September 21st, and December 14th. Again, we can call special meetings and we can evolve, but this would be our regularly scheduled quarterly meeting as per our custom. It will be at 8 a.m. So, Chris, I will need a motion to approve these.
So moved.
All right, I'm going to second that. Is there any discussion, any concerns, questions about the dates? All right, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. All right, those are the housekeeping items. So Tom and Maria, we are good on the meeting and good on the minutes. So we'll jump right into the rest of the agenda. Jennifer Katanis, my friend, Farmington Valley Health District, floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone, and happy holidays to everyone. As you all know, respiratory illnesses, including COVID, flu, and RSV, are on the rise. These things have peaked far earlier in the season than we typically see or anticipate. And as you all know, there's been a lot of media coverage. Early, our children's hospitals were at capacity. Now our regular hospital facilities for adults are also at capacity. As community members, I just want to emphasize it is not too late to get your flu shot or your bivalent boosters. We know that there is vaccine fatigue, but this is probably the single most important thing any of us can do to protect ourselves from serious illness and or to prevent the need for hospitalizations. There are many places in which you can get these vaccines. The Farmington Valley Health District is providing Wednesday clinics in our offices. Sign-ups for those are available on our website. We offer both the bivalent and flu vaccine. So if you have not been vaccinated, please consider it to protect yourself and your family. Mask wearing, hand hygiene, staying home when you're sick, all very important strategies that we can use to prevent acquiring one of these respiratory illnesses, but also protecting those if you've been exposed. So consider that, particularly if you are in crowded spaces, if you have an underlying condition that places you at greater risk for severe complications for any of these illnesses. All important as we move into the holiday season, where we really want family and friends to be able to come together and gather without spreading more illness. Also want to encourage people to use at-home test kits if you're experiencing symptoms, just so that you have a sense of what you may be dealing with. Obviously, we only have home test kits for COVID, but can be an important tool as we move into the holiday season. Switching gears, just wanted to say we had a really wonderful first meeting focused on fall prevention with partners in the police, fire department, senior and social services, and the VNA. I think Kristen Formanak's going to report out on that a little bit more. But I think we're moving towards a really impressive collaborative model where multiple agencies are bringing their expertise and resources to address what is a pretty significant public health issue in our communities, and that is fall risk among our aging population, as we all work to try and encourage and support individuals living independently in their homes for as long as they can. So more to come on that, but it was just great to be part of that collaborative work. And that's it from FVHD.
Jennifer, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any questions? All right, we will continue. Town Manager, Maria.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Just two quick items for folks.
One, myself and Chief Baldus, Chief Bolter, our Deputy Town Manager, and Karen, the Executive Director from the Ambulance Association, we have been working on updates to our EMS plan that is required every 5 years. So we are currently working through that process. And just one quick reminder to our residents to start thinking about winter storm preparedness. I'm sure Mike will probably want to elaborate more on that. But again, Mike, working in conjunction with my office, we have prepared an announcement and recently just pushed that out to our residents. And that's it. Thank you.
Maria, thank you very much. All right. We will keep on rolling. Emergency management, Michael Berry.
Good morning, everyone, and happy holidays to you. Luckily, most of my stuff dovetails into what a lot of other people are going to say, so I won't go on very long today. Going along with the COVID and the flu with the Farmington Valley Health District, I won't go too much more other than to say that if you do need test kits, the town does not have any more test kits to give out. However, there is a government website that you can go and get a couple of the home test kits delivered to your home once a month. So each month on the first of the month, make sure you go to the website. And if you're looking to have test kits on hand, you can go to that website for the federal government and they'll provide you with free test kits. Moving on, the local emergency operations plan is complete on my end. I'm just waiting for a couple more annexes to get approved by the different agencies. I will be contacting them outside of this to make sure that we get that done. And once we get it done, we'll submit it to the state for approval for 2022, 2023. But the plan looks real good for this year and it has been working. So I'm very pleased with that. Had a meeting with Eversource and some training with Eversource on some topics coming up. And if Mark Massaro's on the meeting today, I'm sure he's going to elaborate on that. Just know that the communication with Eversource has been outstanding. The few storms that we have had recently, they have stepped up and had liaisons given to the town, which I have made communication with before the storms, had communications during the storm, and then we communicated after the storm to wrap it up. The communication has been fantastic. I know there's some concerns with Eversource, going forward, but we're having training consistently. And again, the communication between the town and Eversource has been outstanding. We have had a couple of small outages recently, and as soon as we get right on it and we notify the right people, we can get the information that people need. And it's been on the social media, and we tried to feed as much information on social media as possible to everybody to keep everybody advised what's going on. Keeping people advised, we still do have WSIM 103.5 the FM dial. Make sure you listen in. We switched over to our holiday routine. So if you love listening to Christmas music, tune in. Either you can stream it on the computer or you can listen to it on 103.5 on your radio. But do listen in. It's doing a fantastic job. The weather, well, we know what's coming tonight. I'll put out the latest information I have, which is actually looking better than it was yesterday. Looks like this is going to be more of a rain event. So basically, there's not going to be the sky is falling or anything like that coming from my office. But I do want to keep everybody advised that this could change because we are right on the line of the cold weather. So just keep advised, be ready for this, be prepared, and don't get caught out. In 2023, we're hoping that the COVID and the flu season passes and emergency management will be doing a lot more outreach for emergency management and preparation. So if any groups or anybody are getting together and would like to have a presentation from emergency management, we will be more than happy to come out and we don't have to worry about wearing the masks and doing everything as we've had the last couple of years. So we'd like to revamp that program and get the message out there to everybody. So anybody can contact the town or myself for that. Again, we do have social media, so you can contact us right through that. And 2023, we haven't had a drill, a emergency preparedness disaster drill in a couple of years due to COVID. So looking in 2023, my office will be looking to reach out to all the different agencies to see what their objectives are going to be for 2023 and see if we can put something together collaboratively between several of the departments, several of the groups. And we'll be working towards that, and I'll be giving more information individually to the people that are going to be involved with that. And that is my report for this month. Thank you.
Mike, I appreciate that. So we should definitely connect with the town manager's office and Rick Bizzano, because I think we are or have been talking about a cyber tabletop exercise
Yep, we've been working with Rick on that. We
Okay.
attended training with Rick with the National Guard recently, and
Yep.
we found out the town is actually a lot better off than we thought. Rick has been doing a fantastic job. So we want to come up with a drill, an exercise that will stress the different agencies to come up with ideas and things, but we also want to make sure that it goes along the lines of what is on the goals of our IT professionals that we have, because we have several different servers that cover the town for the different departments. So
Yep.
we're working all together on that. So that is in the process right now, and we are working forward with that.
Yeah, because I think, speaking from the professional side, it's a completely different disaster event, right? And I know you have appreciation for that, but I would love to exercise this team and the entirety of town staff as we go through that, because I think it's different muscle memory than what we're used to with, trees and cones and snow and EMS and, police and fire. It's a bit of different, as you know, so.
Yep, and I'll be working with the town manager's office to come up with another annex to our local emergency operations plan that will specifically cover that particular topic.
And from the topical standpoint, if we could have Board of Selectmen clicks on a stupid email that initiated the hack, that would be a basically, because that's essentially what's going to happen, right? So,
right. It's going to be an end user.
It's going to be one of
We're
us.
not going to have an attack at the top because we're protected at the top. It's going to be somebody on the end user. We want to make sure that all of our employees in town and personnel are trained properly to know when to recognize something's coming in like that.
Exactly. Thank you. And the most important question in the morning, is it more of a Michael Bublé theme or is it more of like a Bing Crosby theme for the holidays on the
you know what?
video?
The theme for WSIM is you never know what's coming next. So
Okay.
you can't even say it's got one theme or another because everything's going to surprise you. You just got to listen.
All right. I mean, it's not Christmas until you've heard Bing. So, okay. All right. We'll keep moving along, but thank you for that. Any questions for Mike Berry? All right. Police. I see we have Lieutenant Christian on.
Morning.
Morning.
I'll be very brief today. A couple messages from the chief's office. So the police department and the local traffic authority group are currently working on an assessment of some safety measures at our crosswalks in town. We've deployed our traffic safety instruments to collect data at those intersections and crosswalks, and the police department's engaged in local conversations and conversations with our state partners regarding those assessments.
Wow.
And the last one is the department's annual Stuff a Cruiser event is happening this evening and tomorrow evening from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. Hopefully the weather will hold off for us, but we'll be accepting donations of new unwrapped toys at the Tractor Supply on Hot Meadow Street. And the toys go to support Simsbury Social Services and the Greater Hartford Salvation Army.
Okay. Appreciate that. Always an important event, and appreciate the police department doing that. On the crosswalks, Lieutenant, with respect to the West Street and Gristmill request, that's part of the data collection, obviously.
Yes.
Is that, and then, so that's our next step. And then the report comes back here, goes to the chief, the traffic authority, like what are the next steps there?
So the LTA group and the chief, in conversations with the state, will develop what their goals and what they think should be occurring at that intersection, if any improvements are recommended. And then obviously with any improvements, there's funding. So we'd have to find out where funding would come from.
Okay.
If need be, go to the Board of Selectmen Finance if the state is not going to be responsible for that.
Yeah, and you anticipated my next question. So as far as, and again, not trying to pin you down, but are we talking about weeks, months? What do you think the high level time frame is to have those discussions?
I would say months, if not a little bit longer. Anything with the state takes permitting, and all that takes time.
Okay.
So any infrastructure on the side of the road has to be permitted. It has to be to a certain spec, so it's breakaway. So if a car or a vehicle crashes into it, it has to be safe. So
okay.
Any of those improvements would have to take some time and engineering. And
then, so from a budgetary standpoint, that would be challenging to line up right as we're about to launch into budget season. So perhaps a conversation, Maria, between obviously your office with the lieutenant and the chief on, do we preemptively put a placeholder in for infrastructure improvements, assuming the town's going to have to contribute something, assuming that's what the findings are, right? Because what I don't want is to wait for an entire budgetary season or have to navigate the supplemental process. If we can anticipate that there is going to be some sort of local contribution, we could, debate that during our normal budget process and You know, again, are we talking about 25? Are we talking about 50? I think a ballpark would probably be sufficient, but would love to talk more about that so that the budgetary reasons are not an exacerbating factor to slow down an improvement that all the public safety agencies think makes sense.
Sean,
Yep.
may I ask a question of Matt?
Normally, no, but I'll allow it here. Go ahead.
Thank you. This is very quick. Matt, has it been helpful that people that weren't included in the data report and the study, has it been helpful? Any of the information we've provided to amplify and supplement that study?
I'm not familiar with what information has been provided, but I would say the more information on a generic level that we can have, the better the assessment's going to be, the more complete it would be. So,
Karen, that's a good question. And then my follow-up is if there is an opportunity for the Board of Selectmen to endorse, to recommend, to sign a letter, if it needs to come from this body, I would encourage you and the chief to bring that here too. Because again, if there is a support, if there are liaison calls that need to happen with our newly elected representatives, again, please do lean on all of us to help with that. Maria, anything from your side there? Are we captured all? You're on mute, Maria.
Yeah, all set.
Okay, good. Sorry, I couldn't see you. All right.
That's okay.
So I'll bring that back to the Board of Selectmen, and I believe the first select woman is on, but we can talk about where that might fit into the budgetary process, et cetera. Okay. Any other questions for the lieutenant? All right. Appreciate that. Ambulance. Chief Baldus, you want to go first, or Fire Marshal Torville, whoever wants to take the floor?
You said ambulance, right? That's Karen?
Oh, Jesus, I'm sorry. I was looking at you saying ambulance. So Karen, yeah, she's.
Good morning, everybody.
Sorry, Karen, didn't mean to skip you.
That's quite all right. Good morning, everybody. Just a few things. I won't take too much time. So we had our annual meeting this beginning of this month, which was well attended by our volunteers, employees, and our town manager, Maria, also attended. We had a PowerPoint presentation and a very casual kind of dinner. We'll be putting that PowerPoint on our website if anybody cares to take a look at that. It has all of our statistics, call volume, types of calls, and things like that, and kind of where the association is right now. We have sent our third ambulance out to be remounted. So we now physically only have 2 ambulances on the road, which is fine. And we're good with that. We've made arrangements with a Canton and Granby if we need to borrow an ambulance from them if for some reason we have some sort of mechanical issue with one of them. That the ambulance basically with remounting, in case anybody doesn't understand that, is basically taking the box off of one chassis and putting it onto a brand new chassis. So when it comes back, it'll be pretty much a brand new vehicle. So we'll end up with a Ford 2023 model just because of timing. So in essence, that'll take care of having to redesign the whole inside of the box, and everything will be repainted and come back all bright and shiny and new. And we'll get a few more years out of that. In terms of our numbers, the past 3 months, there have been 690 911 medical calls. SVA has responded to 624 of them, and we had 433 transports out of those. Mutual aid has leveled off between running our 17 program, where basically mutual aid's coming in 53 calls and we're going out 55 calls. So that's basically is balanced off with a pretty good give and take. At this point, we're continuing 17. We've been staffing it every day for 12 hours, 7 days a week, from 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. And it seems to be greatly improving our response times and our call ability to respond to calls in town. So that's what I have for right now, unless anybody has any questions.
Any questions for Karen? Karen, appreciate the update. And again, I appreciate the continued commitment to that second ambulance on the road.
Absolutely. Thanks. Have happy holidays, everybody.
You as well. Thank you. All right, now we go to fire. Sorry, Chief Baldus and Fire Marshal Torville.
No problem. Actually, Gary's going to start us off, and then Patrick and myself will do cleanup today.
All right, Gary.
Yes, good morning. Good morning. From the fire district side, we would like to wish and hope everyone has a safe and happy holiday season. In typical Simsbury fashion, we kicked that off recently with the Simsbury Celebrates, and it was just a wonderful night, very well attended. It's one of the one of the highlights with a lot of people in the center of town with that, with our fire trucks all decorated up and all. It turned out to be quite a night, followed by the great luminary display not a week later. So just looking forward to a great holiday season.
Excellent. Thank you for that.
Okay, start off, happy holidays to everybody. And being this time of year, of course, and the cost of fuels and different heating elements going up this year, we're keeping an eye and getting the word out about heating fire safety, space heaters, fireplaces, maintenance of and cleaning and everything else to the community to make sure we can try to curb some of the calls that we typically get this time of year from those types of events. And I think there'll be more people this year in the community using those as well. So to get that out is a pretty crucial thing. Also, keep in mind to everyone for the public, it's time to put a freeze on winter safety fires. You know, watch your Christmas trees in the back, make sure you water them. Oops, other shoulder. Make sure you water them, you know, make sure you take care of them. Make sure if you're using candles, to stay 3 feet away from everything. And these are just some safety tips that we'll also be putting out there across. Another incident that occurred here in town just recently is we had a lithium ion battery. If any of you have been reading the news or anything, you've seen this across the country. It is starting to become a little bit of a problem, but not too bad. We looked into it as ours happened to be an e-bike battery that actually ended up not being the battery itself, ended up being a charging element within the battery that caused the fire. But nonetheless, it brought it to our attention that how is the community going to deal with these if they have a fire with them, with the landfill only being open 2 days a week? And how can we safely store those batteries until they can bring them to their landfill to be recycled? Our landfill does take lithium ion batteries to be recycled, damaged or good. So we are looking into buying some bags that will be able to provide on responses so we can store those in those bags that are explosion and fireproof. So the people in or the community can bring them down to the recycling center in a safe manner. And while they're waiting for that opportunity to do so, they can be stored safely. Other than that, that's all I have for today.
Appreciate that. Any questions for the fire marshal? All right, Chief.
Yeah, thanks very much. And again, just to dovetail on what Gary started out with, I just want to thank everybody for a tremendously successful Simsbury Celebrates. As many people know, especially on this committee, but from the public perspective, there is a tremendous amount of advanced work that has to go on from a public safety perspective. You know, when we bring into town, 10 to 15,000 people and, basically put them into a center corridor like that. And then we take, fire trucks that are, 50, 60, 70,000 pounds and start, driving them down the street, even as slowly as we do, there's always that concern for safety. And I just wanted to shout out a big thanks to, our police, our public works, ambulance, and also the Celebrates Committee, Park and Recreation, for the work that they did to ensure that everything went as we intended it to, and everybody, was able to get home safely without any incidences. So there was no issues there. So along with that, as was mentioned also, we are entering into the winter weather months here. And one of the things that we do have to remember is once it snows, hydrants have to be shoveled out. That's an important aspect for us in regards to making sure that we can get to a water source should we need it, especially after a snowstorm. We certainly appreciate the residents of Simsbury's attention to this matter. And beyond that, I just wanted to wish everybody a very safe and great holiday season as we move forward into the next year. So that's my report.
Chief, thank you for that. Any questions for the chief? All right, we will keep on trucking. Board of Education, Neil. Morning, sir.
Good morning, everybody. Unfortunately, I missed our September meeting, so I do have one catch-up item that is really from the beginning of the school year, and that's on our long-term goal of installing locked vestibule entries in all of the schools. We used this past summer to get the work at Tariffville done, which was actually a tricky little construction project. But now that one is done, as soon as we complete the Latimer Lane construction project, we'll be 7 for 7 on that long-term goal. So I'm pleased to report that. And then in terms, a lot of what we've been focusing on this fall into winter has been Latimer Lane, as that the planning for that construction project got underway and talking about safety features in that school. But most recently, as the construction team has come on site, I've been very impressed with the construction management team at ONG and their attention to safety while you are coexisting as a school and a construction site. So I really want to applaud their efforts as we become partners over the next couple of years, sharing space with little kids and bulldozers, which can be an interesting combination. So on one more thing on the Latimer front is that we just recently learned that the most challenging time period in terms of traffic and parking down there is going to be this spring from April vacation into summer. So as we learn more about those plans and where we have to put, we're going to build a temporary parking lot up in the back for staff, but it may change some of our traffic patterns for drop off and pickup. And as we learn more about that, we'll be reaching out to involve not only our school resource officers, but other police to see what advice they may have, because it could spill out into the streets around Latimer, and obviously we want to be doing the best we can to have a good safety plan there. So more to come on that, and we'll be reaching out to the police. And then lastly, in terms of what Jennifer was reporting with respiratory illnesses, we certainly are seeing increased absenteeism at this point. Managing it's creating certainly some staffing challenges, managing it as best we can. But I also wanted to point out that for our families, we are a source with lots of test kits. So if a family has a need, please just reach out to the nurse's office at your school, because we'd rather have them in the hands of families than sitting on the shelf at our schools. So I'll stop there.
Yeah, I appreciate that robust update. Obviously, I think as a parent of a little girl at Latimer, I appreciate the attention to safety and detail there, because that's obviously important. And I would encourage fellow parents to remember, we got those big yellow things that we pay for that can really help reduce traffic. So it would be helpful if we utilize the damn things, right? So that would certainly cut down on the lines at all our schools in the morning if we use those big yellow buses. Any questions for Neil? Thank you, sir. Appreciate you keeping our kids safe. Tom Roy, Public Works.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
I think as we've kind of touched on today, it is winter. We've begun our snow operations. We've had actually 2 plowable events so far this year. It's a little bit, we're facing some staffing challenges right now. We have a couple of open positions. We're actively recruiting and looking to get those filled. But when we are down, we only have, during the highway department, full staff would be 20. And when we're down 2 or 3 drivers, it really can make an impact. So the whole crew has been kind of doing a little extra duty to make sure we keep everything to the expectations that we've set in the past. A couple things that residents can do to help us. Once we are plowing is not parking on the road. There's town ordinance, this parking ban should be in effect, but the time it takes a driver to either call into the police and the police will chase down a car parked on the road really takes away our productivity and just adds additional challenges. Keeping kids away, little kids, just as I think Neil mentioned, love bulldozers. They also sometimes love to run out to the snowplow. Just making sure they don't build snow forts near the road. Nothing terrifies our plow drivers more than when they see kids playing near the road and then they come around for another pass and they don't see the kids. They don't know where they are. And it just really, we want to keep everybody as safe as possible. And finally, on our PSA on plowing is not to plow or snow blow into the road. Once we go down and put our final application of salt, if your plow driver plows snow across the road, he's just put essentially a sheet of ice, and it's going to cause us to have to come back, or it could result in a dangerous situation. Hopefully tonight goes well. It looks like it's going to start off as rain. It's going to be a messy, heavy snow, so fingers crossed it goes well. And then lastly, just wanted to make note that following Jimmy Berg's retirement as senior crew leader after, I think, 42 years, Kurt Donalski, another longtime highway department employee, is now been promoted and is in the role of senior crew leader. So if you see Kurt, and if you haven't already done so, you should congratulate him on that position.
Yeah, absolutely. Congratulations to both him and Jimmy on the retirement, on the promotion. So, all right. Any questions for Tom? Appreciate the update. Social services. Do we have Kristen Formanek?
Yeah, I'm here. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Kristen.
I think a lot of what I am going to share has also already been shared. So thank you to my partners for keeping everybody updated. Just to reiterate, yes, we did organize, and key stakeholders met to discuss the issue, the concerns around increased falls with our seniors in the community and some of our folks who have disabilities. So we're going to be working on some potential supports and additional resources for those folks, and looking to see how as a town we continue to help them and support them. It is the busiest season in social services, as many people probably know. We are very busily working right now on our holiday program, also facing some staffing challenges, but we are doing a wonderful job getting holidays ready for, we're over 50 families right now and well over 100 children. So folks will be working on that until next Thursday, and all of our hopefully our residents and kiddos will have a great holiday. It's also energy assistance season. So if you need assistance with your home heating costs, please do reach out to us. We are the Center for taking applications for the Connecticut Energy Assistance Program. So we will help you through that process and help to ensure that your home stays warm. So please do reach out to us. Also would like to gladly report that the food pantry is super robust right now. The community, as always, is beyond generous, and the 2 rooms that we've rented are overflowing, and we've spilled into a 3rd room at the church. This past Tuesday, the last thing I'll share was our cheese day distribution. Of course, our biggest cheese day distribution of the year. Haven't counted yet, but reached out to nearly 100 families. We had extra food for everybody this year. We're also grateful to the folks that did the food collection at Simsbury Celebrates. We were able to give everybody an extra bag of food, as well as toiletries and laundry detergent, which is a big deal. And we also thankfully were able to provide every household with a grocery gift card. So unless there are any questions, that concludes my report for this month or this quarter.
Kristen, I appreciate that. Appreciate your staff and everyone working on the distribution, and obviously the residents for their kindness and generosity in making that possible, right? It's an important partnership.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Nancy is not able to be with us, but she sent 3 quick bullet points. She's excited to work with the town and the health district on the fall prevention project. She's reiterating again that the same thing as we've heard, large instance of admissions for flu, COVID, and RSV. Recommending that everybody in public masking is the best option. The VNA does have some flu vaccine available if anybody's a latecomer and wants a vaccine. And she would like, again, to give a shout out to social services and their Adopt a Family Christmas tree. Appreciates that, and great job by Kristen and her team. Sarah is not able to be with us from Main Street, and I'm stalling for time. I will give her update. She sits on the Simsbury Celebrates Planning Committee, reiterates again, recommend record number of attendees. Thanks the fire department, PD, ambulance, public works, obviously Parks and Rec, everyone for an amazing torchlight parade. Thanks to Tara Willerup, our committee and Parks and Rec for all the work that goes into such a big event. DPW and Sarah on Main Street are continuing to work to partner on the wayfinding signage for our downtown to make the visitor experience safer and better to navigate. And she wants everybody to know she'll be off until January 9th. So let's leave Sarah alone for a couple weeks and let her enjoy her PTO there. And I believe last but certainly not least is my buddy Mark Massaro. Mark?
Sean, thanks. Normally I don't have a whole lot to say, but I have a few points today if you indulge me.
Absolutely.
First, kind of to reiterate what Kristen said about energy assistance, as many probably have heard, the supply rate on the electric bill starting in January is basically going to go from about 12 cents to 24 cents a kilowatt hour. Eversource, and many don't know, Eversource does not own or generate electricity. We deliver electricity from generation facilities and other suppliers. With other things going on around the world, there's a lack of natural gas making its way into the Northeast, whether it's coming from domestic supply or international LNG coming into the Northeast. That LNG is not making it here. And I think Mike and others were on a call we had earlier this week talking about how it could affect power generation during the winter months. So I'll get to that in a minute. But in terms of the increased cost of energy in beginning January 1, residents and businesses can go look for third-party supply contracts. They are not inexpensive, but they are less expensive than the standard offer price that we are able to secure. So folks can go to energizect.com and look on the rate board for available supply rates. And the one point is for residential customers is that there is no cancellation clause or early cancellation fee if they were to find another one sometime during the year next year that is more beneficial for them. So I would suggest taking a look, marking your calendar, and make a decision that's best for your personal finances. I do it all the time and look and see what's out there. I mark my calendar at 6-month increments and see what it is that I can save. Eversource encourages customers, obviously, to save where they can. We don't make any money off of the supply contract. So anything that we can do to help our customers find ways to save, we encourage that. Also on the Energize CT is there are items that you can look at to, if you're interested in energy conservation, you can do home energy audits. You can find rebates on other things. If you're, folks are looking to replace equipment in their home, it makes the sense to just look and see what's available to get any type of rebate that we're all paying through a fee on our bill anyway, to recoup that money when you can. There's also, through our customer care group, anyone that is in need of any energy assistance programs, those folks are going to apply. But then we have Eversource has other programs available to help mitigate the remainder that's not covered by energy assistance. So I encourage those customers of ours and your residents to call our customer care group and find out any programs that are available to them to offset those additional costs. In terms of the gas generation that we talked about, we are many cases at the mercy of ISO New England, who controls the grid throughout New England. They control all of the transmission lines that feed all of the local distribution companies, Eversource, CLMP being one of those in Connecticut, and then the remainder throughout the Northeast or New England. But with a possibility of reduced gas availability during what would be more like a polar vortex event, some gas generation may not be able to get natural gas to use, and that's the predominant fuel. There may be times where that we have to take customers offline at ISO New England's direction to keep the grid stable. So Mike Berry and I think a few others were on a call earlier this week. It's extremely remote possibility, but it's not a zero possibility. So we have to go through exercises, and we've done this for the last 2 years. This is the second year in a row. Last year we had no issues. We don't anticipate any this winter either, but we can't say that it would not happen. So we're preparing and working with all of our emergency preparedness partners to create an awareness as to, what would happen and the communications, as Mike mentioned, we remain in regular communication for various things. But this would be, a heightened sense of awareness. If we saw something coming, we would be preparing in terms of conservation and so on and so forth in advance. It may be where it happens in an emergency and we don't have literally minutes, not even minutes to react. We have to take, circuits offline. And we will do that, but we will, communicate that. And this is not like a days long event. It will be, we have 16 segments across the state. So it will be, 4 to 6, maybe 8 hours a segment. So not too far off an outage that you may experience if someone were to hit a pole. So it is a wider area would be affected, but in a more controlled and calculated way. So not to scare anybody, but just to put that out there for folks on this call to know, we've gone through many exercises and planning and so forth, and we're ready to execute if necessary. But again, it's a very remote possibility. And then lastly, in terms of storm preparation for tonight's storm, our area, we don't anticipate a huge effect. As Mike said, mostly rain, but the higher elevations are definitely going to see snow. And it's really an elevation event. So we're putting extra crews on property and then also on call should we start experiencing any trouble with our system. So that's my report for today.
Mark, appreciate that. Appreciate the forward thinking and again the forward transparency on these issues. Right, I think everybody is well versed on the challenges that power could bring, in the winter. Whereas I think most folks in the public think the summer is the hardest part, but it's actually the opposite here up in New England. Right, so it's something I've learned over my years on this committee. But appreciate again your continued focus on that and making sure that people understand. And again, as Mike said, I echo the partnership that we have with you and with Eversource overall, as I think you've done an excellent job, working with our community and I'm sure others. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Peterson, anything from your side? Good. First, Selectwoman Maxtutis, anything from yours?
Yeah. Oops. I'm not really camera ready at 8 in the morning, but just wanted to say hi and wish everybody a safe and healthy holiday season. And also to acknowledge that yesterday we had a swearing in ceremony, the Simsbury Police Department for Tracy Dunn, who was promoted to sergeant. It was a packed house, the room and the hallway. And I just wanted to give her a call out here.
Thank you. That's an excellent reminder. Always good to have promotions in the house. So thank you for that reminder. Anybody else? All right. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year's, happy any holiday that you celebrate, and I appreciate a good season, or wish all of you a good season for your families and your friends. And I look forward to speaking to you all in the new year. Let's not get together for an emergency drill between now and long after the first of the year. So we'll talk to you all in 23. Have a great day.